Chris Barton. I'm the author of What You Do with a Voice Like That, the story of extraordinary Congresswoman Barbara Jordan. I was actually born in Texas. I was born and raised in the town of Sulphur Springs, Texas, and I have lived in Austin for many years. So the first question we have is, as a Texan, how do I see Barbara Jordan's legacy working in Texas? One way I see her legacy working is as a reminder that we in Texas have the ability, and we've had the ability for a long time, to see beyond superficial differences between ourselves. When Barbara Jordan was first elected in 1966, more than 50 years ago, she was the only woman and the only African American in the Texas Senate. Now, the lesson we can take from her and from the other senators at that time is that we have the capacity to get to know each other as individuals and to keep in mind all that we have in common as we work together to make a better Texas. The second question is, what was it like working with illustrator Aqua Holmes? My favorite thing about working with Aqua Holmes is that after she did her own research and learned how special Barbara Jordan's grandfather was in her life, Aqua asked why Grandpa Patton wasn't in the story I'd written. And when she did that, I took another look at my text and I found just the right place to mention Grandpa Patton. I'm so glad Aqua said something, and I'm so glad that I listened, because the art that she created, the image of Barbara and Grandpa Patton riding together in his wagon, is my single favorite illustration in the entire book, and it would not exist if I hadn't listened to her, if she had not spoken up, and if I hadn't gotten to work with her at all. The third question is, what is my favorite Barbara Jordan anecdote and why? And my favorite Barbara Jordan anecdote comes from something that she wrote when she was a teenager, right after she got back from that first trip she ever took outside Texas, when she went to Chicago for an oratory contest. And she described that trip this way: "My trip to Chicago was the most wonderful, enjoyable, exciting, adventurous, adorable, unforgettable, rapturous. It was just the best doggone trip I have ever had." And I love the sound of her voice coming through those few words, many of them adjectives that she used to describe that trip. The fourth question is, what do I hope readers will take from this book? I hope they'll recognize that just like Barbara Jordan's natural gift of a powerful speaking voice, the readers of this book each have natural gifts of their own. And just like Barbara Jordan, through education and practice and putting her voice to public use, just as she grew and developed her own natural gift, my readers all have things that they can do to grow their own natural gifts. I hope that they recognize those things. And also, like Barbara Jordan, I hope my readers will find ways to use their gifts to make their communities better, to make our state better, and to make our world better, just like Barbara Jordan. Finally, the fifth question is, what advice would I give to young authors and illustrators as they learn to improve their skills? Share your work. Even if it's just with one other person, share these stories that you've created, share the art that you've created. You might share your art or your stories with someone who is an artist or a writer themselves, and you might trade those stories back and forth and learn from each other and offer suggestions to each other for how you can make your stories better. Or maybe you're just inspired by knowing that there's one friend of yours who's looking forward to reading something that you've written or seeing something you've created. Nothing has ever motivated me or inspired me more to finish something and to make it as good as I can than knowing that there's one other person who's looking forward to seeing what I come up with. And some of the most fun I've ever had as a child and as an adult has been making stories, creating art with other people, teaming up together, collaborating. But whether you do it on your own or with somebody else or just side by side, find somebody to share your work with.